welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be reviewing Cyberpunk. I know you're probably sick of hearing about Cyberpunk, probably seen all sorts of news, watched all sorts of videos, played it yourself, but I felt like we needed to cover it. We need to cover it. It's such a big game that it needs coverage on every channel. I think every channel is going to do their own little review on it, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about not only the game itself, the bugs, and sort of some CD Projekt Red PR community interactions. Anyway, hopefully you learned some new stuff. Let's get started. So let's get started here. There's definitely a ton of problems about this game, but let's start with something good. The combat can actually be quite entertaining. I hack the guy on the right side and make him kill himself right off the bat. I'll then hack this next guy and reboot his optics, which is going to blind him, so he's not shooting at me during the rest of the fight. I jump in with Mantis Blades and impale the next enemy. Finish off the next one, and leap over to the next one. Pull out a smart SMG and home in on that enemy and curve around the top bend to hit him. Whip out a sniper rifle and finish the last guy. The game's UI for the inventory system is not too bad. You can equip a new weapon pretty quickly and throw a scope on it pretty seamlessly. Check the muzzles if you want to throw something on like a silencer, suppressor. Check the mods, throw on anything that might increase crit chance, crit damage, the works. One of the problems I have here is if you disassemble gear like this, you have to hold Z, let go of Z when it's done, and then hold it again to start disassembling the next item. It can get pretty tedious when you have a large inventory. The crafting system, not too bad. A little sloppy on the upgrade system. I think it's a little disorganized, and if there was maybe like a column break to organize, weapons, armor, headpiece, chest piece, it might be a little more organized, a little more easy to look at. One of the things that Cyberpunk actually does quite well is the character progression system. If you take a look here at the available attributes, if you click one, you can go into the perk list. Some of the attributes have more than 2 tabs. At the top you see the 2, some of them have 3. And this will help you decide how you want to build your character. More of a gun user, more melee, more hacking, maybe you're interested in crafting more. Whole ton of different ways to build your character to fight in a more unique style that you'd like to participate in. Cyberpunk bugs. What a surprise, this game has a ton of it. That's right, just fell through the roof of that building. And that happens 100% of the time that players try to land on that. These type of bugs are completely unacceptable for the amount of development time that went into this game. To launch like this, it's just honestly a catastrophe. It's pretty insulting to the player base, where you have to kill yourself or load to get out of a bugged wall. How about another bug, where you get stuck on your bike and you have to reload your game because you can't get out or off the bike? A little ridiculous. One final bug where an NPC walks through a door and I had to edit out the game files for the door in order to proceed with the game. There is a horrible feature in the game known as Brain Dance. It's supposed to be a storytelling element that sends you back to a previous event so you can take a look at it and inspect it in 3 different layers, thermal, audio, and visual, to try to find these little cues that the game wants you to find in order to progress. It ruins whatever story is happening at the moment because you don't really pay attention to it. You're just trying to find these cues in order to proceed.
The same as that fucking Halt!
I could think of a few different.
Shut up! That bastard he stole from research! He doesn't care about the sick!
So, Cyberpunk definitely has some good story, but the story tends to be better in side quests than the main quest. I found that to be a little odd. The main quest, it almost didn't pull me in as much. The main story was a bit on the dull side, and I couldn't really understand why characters were motivated to do some of the things that they did. I'm not going to spoil the rest of the story, but you'll understand if you play through it. Some of the side quests, the story is deeper than the main quest. For instance, this guy here, This is Corporal Hare. This is a side quest, so I don't want to spoil the main quest, but take a look at this. His character development is pretty deep for a side quest, and you can make some smart dialogue choices here to learn a little bit more about him and avoid combat.
Without my brothers. Fuck. So quickly they forgot me.
You're angry, and I get it. You feel cheated.
Not just me.
I know, but if you zero Holt, you'll make it worse for everyone in your condition. They'll hunt you down.
Leave. Go, please.
No, I can't without those meds.
Over there. I want to be alone.
So, CD Projekt Red kills me a little bit with this Cyberpunk because they've done some good and they've done some bad. So, for instance, in this situation here, they apologize for the last-gen consoles issue, where the game just looked nothing like it, like how it was perceived or presented, right? And they offered refunds. Right thing to do, right? It felt like a bait and switch, and they're doing the right thing. It could lead to a lawsuit if they don't, who the heck knows, but they're doing the right thing in this situation. The next image, they also talk about, the refund and confirm that, you're going to get your refund, don't worry about it, as long as you send an email by December 21st. So here they do a good thing. But then on some other sides, they do some really crappy things that really makes me kind of torn with how to feel about CD Projekt Red with this situation with Cyberpunk. Taking a look at this image, there is what I consider the worst bug in Cyberpunk to date. There is a save data corruption bug. Unfortunately, the save data is damaged and can't be recovered. Please use an older save file to continue playing and try to keep a lower amount of items and crafting materials. If you use the item duplication glitch, please load a save file not affected by it. The save file size limit might be increased in one of the future patches, but the corrupted files remain that way. So, they're talking about a save file limit. If the save file reaches 8 megabytes, it becomes corrupted and can never be used again. CD Projekt Red is literally asking players to either go back or restart the game, essentially, and that corrupted files will remain corrupted forever. Once it's corrupted, even if they patch the file size limit, it will never be fixed. You're telling players to restart 100 plus potential hours in your game and restart. Start from the beginning. The lack of understanding that CD Projekt Red has for the players in this situation is ridiculous. The audacity to even consider that, to ask players to restart a game that you could put 100 plus hours in, is just ridiculous to me. If we take a look at this file size crafting bug here I have, take a look at the file size. It's almost 4.5 megabytes. If I reach 8 megabytes, my save file is gone. So I craft a whole ton of gear that takes 12 crafting materials to make one item. That means I lose 11 items per craft. So they're saying you have too much crafting materials. That could cause it. Yeah, well, if you notice the reduction in crafting materials and my file size still increases, it goes up. So if I really enjoy crafting and I stick to it, I keep crafting, I do a ton of crafting, I do a lot of world exploration, I hoard items, I could eventually reach 8 megabytes and corrupt my save. And the fact that they mention using the item duplication glitch is almost insulting in its own. I play my games legit, I don't cheat, but I still have to worry about eventually hitting this 8 megabyte limit and locking myself out of my save file forever. So if you really enjoy the game and you want to put 200 hours in, you are guaranteed to eventually hit the 8 megabyte limit and corrupt your save. So you have a Majora's Mask situation going on where your time runs out and you're done. Obviously, that game didn't really work that way, but in this situation, you are going to lock yourself out of your entire save file and you have to restart the game. Because if you're 150 hours into the game and you're really enjoying it and you're just playing a whole ton and collecting everything, you will eventually reach a point where you reach that save file limit and you are done. And you might say, well, why don't I just reload a previous save and keep a lot of saves? Okay, but if you have a save at 145 hours and it gets corrupted at 150, well, if you go back to 145 hours into the game and you load that save, you're still going to be close to that 8 megabyte limit, and you're eventually going to hit it again, and you're done. So my save file keeps increasing in size, and that's something I have to be worried about now, because I'm eventually going to be locked out of the game forever. Which is probably a good thing, because I don't want to play it anymore. Update. On December 23rd, CD Projekt Red released an update that resolved the 8 megabyte file size limit issue. While this doesn't forgive CD Projekt Red for having this issue in the first place, it does certainly give them some credit, seeing as they fixed this issue rather quickly. It only took them 13 days after the release to resolve it. Not too bad. It was pretty high priority for them, so it's nice to see. I wonder if some other studios would have been so quick to resolve this. But we felt that it would be a disservice to you guys to not at least include this portion, letting you guys know that that previous bug was resolved prior to us launching this video. So anyway, on with the rest of the video. So overall, the game's not a bad game. It's not a bad game at its core. It's not. It's a big world. There's a lot to do. The voice acting's great. The story is pretty good. Not too bad. It's a game that's worth playing later. I believe CD Projekt Red's going to fix a lot of this stuff you've seen in the video. I believe in them. I think they will. But it still doesn't fix the launch issue. A bug may be fixed later, but it doesn't fix the fact that it was in the game to begin with. I still think it was a poorly released game. It was butchered. The amount of bugs and the lack of QA that went into this game was, let's be honest, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. And CD Projekt Red, you can do better, and you have done better. That's what hurts so much seeing this. You're not an indie company. You're not indie devs. We expect better from you. So just know I love you, and in the small chance you actually do see this video, know that. I love you. This comes from a place of love. You got to do better. You got to do better. A lot of people are kind of blaming the community almost for the amount of hype. I say that's bullcrap. That's not community hype. CD Projekt Red knew what they were doing. They got John Wick there, all right? They got Keanu Reeves in the game. He came out, right? He came out on stage like they blew this game up like crazy. It's one of the most hyped games or overhyped games in the history of gaming. I honestly believe that. And I think if anyone says the community's to blame for that, that's ridiculous. You're breathtaking. Like, come on. It was all over the place. They did those bi-weekly, I think it was bi-weekly, these Night City Wire things. Like, they put a lot into the advertisement and the community hyping, right? And, I mean, the fact that the game was announced 8 years before it released, that drums up a lot of hype on its own. That's usually when a community kind of starts drumming up hype, is when a game's just been in development for so long, we haven't seen it, and then CD Projekt Red just kind of fanned the hype flames by doing all this PR stuff, or I don't know, advertising, let's call it, right? So, all in all, you could have done better, CD Projekt Red. You could have done better, you should have done better, but I believe in you. I think you guys are gonna fix this game, and you'll learn from this. You'll learn from this. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you learned a little bit of something about Cyberpunk. If you want to provide your take on it and you want to talk about it a little bit more, drop something in the comments below. Remember, like, subscribe, hit the little bell thing for notification, and visit oathboundgaming.com if you want to win an RTX 3080. Got you next time.